Hey friends, sorry about the lack of videos the last few days. My allergies have been out of control. Nobody needs to see that, y'all. Nobody. So, for our recap of episode 4, it is so boring, y'all. So boring. But let's go ahead and take a look. So we start out with Ken and his Jeep driving to the rescue to save Gypsy Rose with his Keener Jeep. And he is in his Jeep talking about how there are weirdos that'll come to your house. They show a lot of shots of his Jeep while he's talking. He talks about how the conditions of her parole will just make things so difficult. Yeah, she probably shouldn't have, done that thing. Got her put in prison, the big M. But in the transition, we get soft music. We get Gypsy washing the dishes again while soft music continues. So Ken shows up. He's pacing around the kitchen, asking her what she's doing. He's all energetic and asks if she's packed. She's got her suitcase ready because remember, guys, she's a prep person, y'all. Prep person. And Gypsy complained she didn't sleep with a wink. She was so nervous. She said she already felt uncomfortable sleeping there and living there because the address is online. Well, maybe you shouldn't have signed a contract to keep putting it online. Like, they literally showed the front of the house, exact same thing that Ivory Rose Grows Wild showed in her live stream. They just showed that right before she started talking. So it really seems to me that this is more of a ploy to continue what she originally wanted, which was not to live with Rod and Christy. I think we all are of the opinion that that's why she married Ryan. Then interestingly, she says she doesn't have to call her PO and talk about every little thing that goes on unless he brings it up to her. It's weird that she even brought that up in the context of her feeling unsafe and threatened. You'd think that would be a thing that she would call her PO about immediately. So this was just a weird statement. Then she says that she didn't use her days to spend with Ken last week, so she's going to use him now. So maybe that was her reason to say that she didn't need to call her PO about every little thing, because maybe they knew it would look awkward in filming that she just suddenly decided to go to Ken's and they went without showing her okaying with her PO. That's just a speculation, I don't know. And now we have calm country music. Then they show them driving, and as per usual, Gypsy's always on her phone. Then Gypsy goes on to say that even though they're in the public eye, she feels like your home should be your safe space. I would agree, but how does that apply to all the people that her and her minions, her friends, have doxxed and that she shared? Gypsy even says it's not fair to not have a place of safety, even if you are putting yourself out there. Well, a lot of the argument against Becca Scoops being doxxed was that she had already put herself out there as a public figure. So how does that apply to the values that you're espousing here, Gypsy? Gypsy even plainly says, even if you are putting yourself out there, that doesn't give someone the right to invade your place of safety. What do y'all think? And Gypsy and Ken make some small talk. You look nice. And then Gypsy says that to Ken, and he forgets to answer for a while, and he's finally like, oh, so do you. And she's like, no, I don't. My hair. And Ken's like, I love all of it. Honestly, the B-roll footage is more interesting. And they get to Ken's place, and there's a slow zoom on the daddy-to-be ribbon on his fridge. Then Gypsy drops her little bombshell for the cameras that everybody's known and been talking about for ages. She's like, it's Louisiana law that the marriage you were in has to be the name on the baby. And Ken's like, well, that's not comfortable. It's not what anyone wants. Ken's like, well, that fucking sucks. He's always acting shocked by these things as if he didn't know what the hell he was doing when Gypsy was married, and he comes sniffing around. She's on a high right now. Of course, Gypsy's like, it's not what I wanted either. And Ken starts getting a little wild for the cameras. He's like, how about if we go to a different state and give birth to the baby there? Then he's like, what if we were married before the baby is born? And I have to wonder if these are the kind of statements that Gypsy was acting like were so romantic. It didn't come across very romantic, y'all. And Gypsy's sitting there looking like she knows that. Then she says it's whatever marriage the child was conceived in, reminding everyone of the overlap. Ken's all, okay, all right. Like, his key energy's off. And again, Ken's like, it's not what I wanted. And he says to Gypsy, I'm sure it's not what you wanted. I think she wanted it, y'all. I think she likes the drama. What do y'all think? Then Ken says even him, Ryan, I don't think he wanted this. Well, obviously Ryan didn't want that. Good Lord. Ken, get your key energy straight. Ken. Then Ken says, other than just, like a big ha-ha to you. And Gypsy's like, yeah, it's a big ha-ha to me. Like, she knows she looks dumb, y'all. She knows she looks dumb. Or as she said in her super 1950s throwback language, I am labeled a loose woman. Reminds me of Meghan Markle putting out the Archetypes episode labeled Spinster. Nobody says that. Gypsy knows social media is going to laugh at her. Yeah, obviously, Gypsy, you did this to yourself. And Ken says that life is throwing us a lot of stuff. Like, Ken, you threw the stuff that caused your situation your damn self. Y'all. Oh my God. He acts so oblivious to how all this happened. Says life's throwing them a lot of curveballs. Yeah, curveballs. That's what caused your situation. What do y'all think? Then he says he doesn't think any man idealizes his firstborn child to be born with another man's name. That's a weird way to say it. Like, no, absolutely not. No man idealizes that, but they actually generally don't want it. Like, not to idealize something is to consider it just the absolute best option. It's just a very weird way of phrasing it. What do y'all think? Am I reaching here? Let me know in the comments, y'all. Ken reminds Gypsy to think positive. It's not permanent. Lifetime's switching gears because now we have uplifting music. Gypsy starts talking about how much stress they've been under and how she needs general knowledge of what giving birth is like. She doesn't know anything. She apparently got a birth doula from a place called Nola Nesting. So this is the lady who showed up from Nola Nesting. And Gypsy asked her, what does a birth doula do? And the lady explains that they meet a couple of times during your pregnancy and then they're on call for your labor. And then she asked Gypsy what her ideas were for how she wanted to have her baby. I assumed she meant like water birth, whatever, the options. And Gypsy starts out with the only thing that she does know is that she wants an epidural. And Gypsy starts talking about how she wants private classes because people get all up in her life and in her business. And then she has to talk to the hospital about security. And the doula lady's like, yeah, I'll talk to them about that. Like, she's not going to be security. She doesn't care. This poor lady's sitting here like wanting to talk to Gypsy about how to actually give birth. And she's like, and I got death threats and I got people wanting to beat me up. And oh, I'm so social media stalked. But she has a Lifetime crew filming this whole thing. Again, this lady's just like, yeah, you should talk to them about that in advance. And Gypsy just won't let the subject be changed. She's like, yeah, that's the scariest part. There's so many crazy people in the world. Like, get off Lifetime, girl. You're famous for a crazy reason. Then we got Christy calling for the deputy. They're telling about Ivory Rose Grows Wild. You can see Gypsy's just sitting there. Christy's like, a girl came riding in front of the house, calling us out to go fight her. Christy's like, she can't defend herself. And Gypsy's poking her belly up. And naturally, we got Ryan doing a poll. And Gypsy's like, oh, what irritates me the most is Ryan speculating. Again, of course he's going to speculate. You overlapped your marriage with Ryan with your pregnancy with Ken. He's going to speculate. And apparently, she was talking to Ken since February, even though they didn't meet till April. How's Ryan supposed to feel sure and secure about that? Gypsy says he's only doing it to keep himself in my life. They really do a lot of Ryan footage on this one. Calm music, y'all. We got Ryan and Pixie. Ryan being happy about his TikTok views. This is so boring, y'all. Ryan says, every message people send me, I read it, good and bad. Well, that's kind of sweet. That's pretty sweet. Ryan says, it's cool that people care. People in other countries know who I am. That's pretty cool. And then he says, and it's good for the bankroll, too. He didn't say revenue this time, y'all. It's revenue, baby. Friends, I'm not sure if the boring is giving me a headache or if it's my allergies acting up again, but I've got to cut it here. I will resume in the morning, y'all. Thanks for watching.